Any person who owns a car is your customer when you offer this as a service. And in this video, I'm speaking with my buddy Thomas about every facet of how you can start a mobile mechanic business with absolutely no knowledge, no experience, and just $500. I didn't believe it, but that's exactly how he got his start. We're going to be going over everything from the equipment you'll need just starting out, licensing and insurance, what services to offer and how to price them, how to get your first customers, upsells you can offer, and if you stick around to the end, we're even going to get into the most amount of money he's ever made with one single job, the most profitable services that he offers, the most costly mistakes that he's made, and the worst customer that he's ever had. And a little bit of foreshadowing here, his customer died while he was in the middle of the job. I'm not going to say anything else. So if this is the kind of content you want to see, then smash the thumbs up button for me. And if you have a business, or if you're thinking about starting a business and you need a tool for sending estimates, invoices, or keeping track of customers, you need to try QuoteIQ, the #1 CRM for the home service industry. Right now, you can try any tier for absolutely free at myquoteiq.com, which will be the first link in the comment section and the description. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this one. Thomas, how long have you been offering mobile mechanic services for?
I started in 2018 is like when I first started my little business here. But I didn't really take it serious till probably 2021 is when I did full time.
How'd you ultimately get into it? Were you a mechanic first, or did you work in a shop, or what did it look like?
No, I was raised by old women. Okay. So I never worked on any cars growing up. So I'm a self-taught mechanic. But what happened was when I got out of the Marine Corps, as like a lot of Marines do, you kind of lose your identity, right? So you're trying to figure out your next chapter or your next step in life. And I was struggling with PTSD, which is very common for a lot of military members. And I came across something that says if you work with your hands or if you can get into the trades, that it showed to improve some of your PTSD symptoms, right? Giving yourself something to do and the feeling of accomplishment after after you do that task. So I just picked mechanic as one of mine. It's something I wanted to learn about. And I just started working on my own car and slowly just teaching myself.
Dude, that's beautiful. So it's not like you were like, have you always been mechanically inclined or
No,
interested
not at
in?
all. No, no.
Oh
Like
gosh.
when me and my wife first got together, I remember like if there was like I had a I needed to plug my tire. I had to drive it up to the little tire shop up here and pay him $20. I couldn't even plug a tire.
Dude, this is incredible. Okay, perfect. So this is a great opportunity for anybody to kind of jump into this business. Don't need any prior knowledge or experience. Don't need to like be mechanically inclined. So tell me, like, what services did you start out with, and like, how did you kind of get the ball rolling for yourself with this?
Well, after it took me like a year or two, probably 2 years of like just working on my own vehicle and literally watching a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of videos out there, because that's how you teach yourself now, right? And so when I started working on friends and families' vehicles. And it's mainly just brakes or spark plugs, things that are very simple that a lot of DIY, I mean, you could do it on your own, basically. But I started with that.
How is the demand for mobile mechanics in your area? And like, what first steps did you take to start getting customers in this?
Yeah. So first of all, a lot of people don't even know mobile mechanic is a thing. I would say half of my customers, once I get there on scene, they're like, I didn't even know you existed. Right? They just found me on Google looking up mechanics. So a lot of people don't even know it's an option.
I have a mechanic shop pretty close by. Every time I pass by, they are loaded out with cars. I think that everything with regards to services being offered always lends itself to the convenience. The more convenient it is for the customer, like, the more people are going to opt into it. So I would imagine that this service lends itself to being very convenient. How are you getting most of your business? Are they coming through Google, Facebook? What does it look like?
The best thing was Google. I remember like when I first started it, I don't even know if they offer it anymore. I know they don't offer the website portion. It was My Business or Google My Business. You could set up a free Google page and do it that way. You could have your own little website and everything was free through Google. Now you could do the Google ads and stuff, but I have never done. I just set up a free Google business site, and that is what got the ball rolling. And then I started doing social media. So I made a Facebook page, TikTok, YouTube, everything with the name Simplify Mechanic. And then I also did the business cards, and I dropped business cards everywhere. Anytime I checked out at a gas station, the little POS machine that you slide your debit card through, I'd slide my cards under there. Like anywhere I went, them was like my big things.
If you need help getting more customers online and you don't have a website, then you need to check out Budget Built Sites. It's a completely free AI generated website. All you're going to pay for is the hosting. It's 10 times cheaper than hiring a web developer every single month, and the site is generated in less than 5 minutes. So if you're serious about your business and you're serious about getting more customers, check out Budget Built Sites. It's linked down below, and get your business in front of more people and build your online presence today. Okay, perfect, man. So that kind of got the ball rolling for you. So what's kind of like the first thing that people are calling you on when they're giving you a call? Like, I mean, is it all sorts of things now, or is it usually like typically easier services, you know?
It depends on what type of or what time of the year it is. I live in Columbus, Ohio, so we have all the seasons, right? So it's starting to get cold now. So a lot of my calls right now are, "Hey, I don't have any heat, or my heat's not working well." In the summertime, I get a lot of calls. AC's not working, right? But a lot of the calls starting out is like I've got 10 phone calls today. Their car's not starting or it's not running right. So a diagnosis is mostly, I would say probably 75% of my calls starts with a diagnosis.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And so just for anybody starting out, were you kind of nervous in the beginning because there's so many things that you did not know, and I'm sure you got calls on things that you had no idea about, and so you're just kind of figuring out along with the, with the customer?
Well, yeah, first of all, you don't want to put yourself in a bad situation. So only take the jobs that you're comfortable with, right? Or you know that you can get through. So in the beginning, I had to turn down a lot of calls, right? Because I didn't know the job. And you don't want to learn on the customer's car, right? That's not a good way to do it. Now you can figure things out as you go, but you can't go in there blind. So in the beginning, I only took on what I knew I could do. And I did a lot of research before I took the job, before I even got to the job, of doing whatever they asked me to do.
Okay, beautiful. So Thomas, you've been offering this for a little while. Sounds like, did you just figured it out from the beginning? Sounds like a lot of boots on the ground marketing. You're putting cards everywhere. How's the clientele look now? Is it very consistent? And are you getting repeat customers as well?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have repeat customers or your business will not be successful. Because, I mean, there's plenty of one time customers or new customers, but if you don't do a good job, then guess what? Your business will fail. You have to do quality work. And that's how your name really gets around. That's how it starts to grow, is by them telling their friends, "Hey, I got a mechanic," or their friends. I mean, one good customer can lead to 10.
That's very true. That's why we always do the best job that we can with everybody. You never know who that person is going to be that sends you all that work. So I want to focus in on anybody who's interested in starting this as a business. Can we talk a little bit about licensing and insurance in order to start this? What kind of licenses? Do we need any licenses to work on people's cars? What does it look like?
Yeah, well, it depends what state you're in, but I'll just speak what I know right here in Ohio. And it goes down to the county you're in, because even you might have your state licenses or your county might make you do something. But right here in Franklin County, Columbus, Ohio, which is the capital of Ohio, it's a big city. It's got like 1 million people here. You didn't need any special licensing, but you did have to get a business permit or a business license, just a general business license. You don't have to be a certified mechanic. You don't have to have, like I said, you don't have to have a license or a certificate, anything like that. But you do have to get a general business license through the state of Ohio. Now, insurance is very tricky as a mobile mechanic. Uh, Ours, we went through Next, NEXT, and they'll branch you out. You can get a hold of them. And we went with a general liability, just a general business one. They offer, and they have a couple things that you can add on to that.
Beautiful. And what I'll do is I actually have a link through next. So you guys get a free insurance quote. I'll leave a link down below for you guys to check that out. Okay. So once we get our insurance in place, I would imagine insurance, like a lot of service businesses, people try to get started for as cheap as possible. Maybe they don't want to get insurance. Maybe they want to wait and see if it's going to work out, which I think is kind of the piece of why you started with your family and friends cars first. So I think that's a great piece of information. But insurance, anytime you're dealing with people's most valuable assets like home or car, I would imagine insurance is very important because things could probably go pretty wrong, right?
Oh yeah, things can go. It can, yeah, a lot of things can go wrong. You need to be covered. I didn't, like when I first started out. Like I said, I just did business or friends and family. Obviously, I didn't have a license. To be honest, I didn't have anything. It's basically like the neighborhood kid that kind of does like the 4 or 5 lawns. I'm not expecting him to be fully bonded insured, right? So starting off, it was like that. But as soon as you take on your a customer's car, you have to be ready, fully legal, because things will go wrong. It ain't if. they will. It's just a matter of time. So you got to make sure that you have your insurance in place.
Okay, sweet, man. I want to get into equipment next. I mean, I can only imagine like all the different tools that you need for this. What'd you get started with, and kind of like what do you have now in terms of equipment?
Well, as a mobile mechanic, you got to pick and choose what you're going to bring, unless you have a huge van. I started out, I had a 2005 Honda Accord, right? A little car. I just threw everything in the back seat. Like when I pulled up, I didn't look very professional, but I did professional work. So that helped, right? And I started with, I had $500 worth of tools. I went to Harbor Freight, and literally for $500, I got me a jack, a 3-ton low profile jack stands. And then there was a 300-piece socket set called the mechanic set or something like that. That was like for $200. And that's what I had. I had the mechanic set, 300-piece socket set, and I had 300 pieces. It has everything you need in that little socket set, a jack stands, and and a small code reader or scanner. I had like a $50 code reader. And that is exactly what I started with. And I pulled up in my 2005 Honda Accord.
Thomas, I really like people that don't let anything get in their way. They don't make any excuses. And that really seems like you, because those are the people that are ultimately going to be the most successful. I mean, dude, like you could probably go out and say, I'm not going to start this business until I got $1,500. I got a van. I got all this other kind of stuff, all this equipment, but you just went out and did it. So I love that, man. What services do you provide most? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about, seems like AC and heat during whatever season it is. What services are you providing most, and what are kind of like your favorite services to provide in terms of maybe profitability, if you will?
Well, you want the smaller jobs. You don't want to get stuck on a job that's going to take forever. Like I don't do any engine replacements or engine rebuilds or transmission replacements or rebuilds. First of all, that's going to be very hard to do in a garage or in somebody's driveway, right? It's hard to do. So basically on my everyday things, the things that are most profitable are doing brakes, starters, alternators, any of the suspension work like upper ball joints, lower ball joints, tie rods, things like that.
Excellent. And those are all things that you just picked up on YouTube, huh? So you got a call
Yeah.
from somebody, you watched a YouTube video, and you just rolled on it?
Yeah, basically. So they're all starters are basically the same. The wires and how they are, just where they're at in each vehicle is a little bit different. So even to this day, like I have a job later, doing a 2010 BMW X5, and we're doing the alternator, replacing that. So before that job, I still had to look up to find out where it was located. Now I know how to take it apart once I get there, but just you still got to figure out where it's at on the vehicle.
Okay, excellent. And Thomas, just so people can kind of get an idea, what's kind of the range of money that you can expect to make, offering services as a mobile mechanic every day?
Now, right now, I charge $150 per hour. That is my hourly labor rate. So you look up there's book times. You can be a flat rate mechanic or you can go by hourly, right? Working for yourself, you need to do it hourly is the best thing. So if you look up a job, right, for the 2010 BMW X5, it quotes 3 hours is how long the alternator or how long it takes to take the alternator out, replace it. 3 hours, right? So I just take my hourly rate and times it by 3, right? So it's $450 is the quote for this job. Now, when I started out, I was only charging $60 an hour, right? You don't want to start out charging $150, $200 an hour. I started out $60 an hour and then moved, over time as I got better and more customers, then I raised the rate.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I always tell people the amount that you charge should really scale with how much work you have coming in and how good and proficient you are at that work. So obviously you've developed a skill for this, so that demands more of a price increase. And then also you probably have more customers and you have time to fulfill those customers. And when you're in the case of that, you can charge more money. So couple beautiful things that you got going for yourself there, Thomas. I do want to get into upsells. Are you able to kind of like you go out and do a job, let's say change out an alternator. Are you able to kind of like take a look around the car and upsell things? You know what I mean? And what do those typical upsells look like?
Yeah, like with any vehicle, no matter what I'm replacing, if I'm already there doing a job, I'll always do a free diagnosis with it. So I'll plug in my scanner and do something called a health report. And it'll look into the vehicle and look at all the modules and see if there's anything else wrong with the vehicle. So just depending on, and 99%, 90% of vehicles out there Once you plug the code reader in, something will come up, right? And then you can just show them right there on the screen that this came up, offer it to fix it, give them a better deal, seeing how you're already on scene, or how much it would be if you had to come back, things like that.
Okay, excellent. Now, Thomas, now that you've been doing this kind of work, what's your impression on like conventional shops? Because a lot of people have like a bad taste in their mouth with regards to like a conventional mechanic shop because like either they think that they're being overcharged or maybe they're going to be charged for something that doesn't necessarily need to be fixed. Has this whole, you doing this business changed your perspective on any of that?
Yes, a little bit. Now, there's a place and time for shops and dealerships. Not everything can be done mobile. Like I said, transmission repair, I would not hire a mobile mechanic to replace your transmission or to replace your engine. I mean, it can be done, but personally, I would take that to a shop or a dealership, right? But what I say is if you go into a shop, right, or a dealership or whatever, just to get your brakes changed, just go in there and don't let them upsell you on things. Just go in there and get that. They'll do their free diagnosis, right? And whatever they give you back, instead of getting it done right then, you can come back, call your mobile mechanic, then have him come out and he can check and see if that stuff's actually uh, what you really need. Because there's a big variety if something needs replaced or it doesn't. Brakes, right? You put brakes on, technically within 2 months, it might be under the specs of where it really needs replaced. But in honesty, you still have 4 months before it really needs replaced.
Okay, excellent. So there may be some dishonesty there. I mean, I get it. Everybody's trying to run a business. Everybody wants to make a profit. So I figured I'd ask you. Did you ever have a instance when you were first starting this business that you got in over your head with a job that like maybe you bit off more than you could chew? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, trust me. There's been a few times that I've started a job and I got so far into it and I just got in over my head. Well, what you need to do is put everything back how it was, right? And take your ego out of it and just go to the customer, refund them their money, and just tell them, be honest with them, I just can't complete this task right now. Help them find another mechanic and just cut your losses. And that's when you learn only take jobs that you're comfortable with so you don't get in over it, over your head, right?
Thomas, can you give us a specific example and like what, time frame do you give yourself to be like, okay, I'm either going to fix this within this time frame or like I have to give up on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it hasn't happened in a while, so it's hard to like think back on something. But I know why I keep saying no transmissions or engine rebuilds. I went out to do this is in the beginning, a transmission replacement. And I looked up the quote and I was like, oh man, I can make $1,500. This is good money. Uh, and I got under there and I started taking everything off. And I quickly realized that I do not have the tools for this or the space. I don't have anything I need for this, and I need to get out of it. But I didn't come to that. I mean, I thought about it like it was pretty obvious after an hour. I was over my head, but I stuck it out for like 2 days trying to figure this out. And after a couple of days, I realized, all right, I just need to get a hold of the customer, tell them I'm over my head. And what sucks is they're going to be mad, right? The money they did give you, you're going to have to refund them. And the 2 days you spent on it, you lost, I mean, 8 hours of working, right? So you
Right.
lost a lot of money on this.
Got to eat both days. I mean, I think anybody starting a new business, there's going to be times where you bite off more than you can chew. You underquote things. So that 150 that you have for labor, if you have to go over on labor, do you charge overages on labor, or like if you say, hey, it's going to be 350 for this job, are you sticking to your guns on the 350 even if you have to lose time
Yep.
on it?
Well, once I look it up, once I give you a quote, right? Say we're doing the alternator on that BMW. It's the book says 3 hours, right? That's the labor rate from the dealership or from the shop when they build the car. This is how long it takes for you to do the job. So that's all I'm going to quote you for. So it's $450. Now, say I get under there and I break a bolt off, right? Now it's going to take me an extra 2 hours drilling that out, making new threads, all that. I'm not charging them an extra 2 hours. Once I give you the quote for that job, that's the quote that you're going to pay because I receive half the money up front once I get there and half the money once I'm done. Right. So today, like we're charging them $450. When I get there, they'll pay me $250. Right. then I'll do the job, and then they'll give me the 200 at the end.
Dang. Okay, Thomas, that's awesome, man. I don't know how you did this not being mechanically inclined. I'm not mechanically inclined either. I mean, I've changed spark plugs and things like that, but like, man, I don't know. You got to have a lot of patience to be a mechanic. Maybe I could ask you this. Is there anything that was surprising about starting this business that like you wouldn't expect going into it? Like obviously your hands are probably always dirty. Like there's tight spaces that you got to
Yeah.
get into, right? Like I mean, what else was surprising about starting the business that you didn't necessarily think of before you got into it, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's if you're starting this business, you have to wear all the hats. You're by yourself, and I'm still by myself to this day. I've hired a couple people, but it didn't work out, right? But you got to wear all the hats. So you got to be the marketer, you got to be the HR guy. I mean, you just have to wear all the hats. So when I started this, I'm just thinking just about fixing cars, right? It never dawned on me how many hats I had to wear, how many times customers are not going to be happy, and you have to. I mean, they're yelling at you or whatever, and you got to draw the line. Like, how far is disrespect? How much you're willing to take? You know, in the beginning, you're going to have to take a lot more times. People yelling at you and things like that, and I was not ready for that.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to get into this. What's been your worst customer so far that you've had? Have you had like a particular experience with a customer that was like the worst?
Yeah, I've had a few. One that I remember is I was working on this Ford F-150 for an older guy. He was, I don't know, 70 or 80, and he wanted to get this truck fixed up, right? But it had a lot of work. So he left it at the house. Usually I go to their house, right? But this was going to have a bunch of stuff done over, a couple months, right? It was well, his wife loved the truck. His wife died. He wanted to just rebuild it, right? Put money into it. So we was putting stuff on it at my house for a long time. Well, I didn't hear from him for a while, and I went over there and found out that he passed away. Right. Well, I his daughter was there, and I told his daughter about the vehicle. Now they still owed, like he paid me, I think $2,000, but he still owed 2,000. I was going to waive that last 2,000 just because of everything going on. I was just going to give their vehicle back. Well, the woman wanted the vehicle back, but she also wanted the 2,000 that her dad gave me up front for all the work I did do, right? And I told her, no, ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm already giving you a deal where you don't have to pay this other 2,000. I could have kept the vehicle till they paid that, right? Uh, well, then I give her the truck. She comes back the next day at my house, and it's her, and there's like three guys on motorcycles, right? And they're knocking at my door. My wife calls me and says, some old woman here, well, she's like 50. Some woman's here with three old bikers, and they're saying that you owe them money. So I had to come back to my house, and she's there wanting this $2,000, right? Obviously, she didn't get it. And I was like, you need to get up out of here before we have problems, right? Well, they finally left. Uh, and like 3 hours later, I was headed to another job, right? Well, guess who was broke down on the side of the highway? It was them. Their motorcycle broke down. So here I am driving by, and it's raining out. So here they are broke down on the side of the road. And I was just smiling like, oh, karma, right? Just beeping and waving as I went by.
Dude,
Yeah.
that is insane. Oh my
So, but no,
god.
I wasn't going to give him any more money back. I already knocked off 2,000, right?
Man, having a customer die mid-job, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. Okay, so I do wanna ask you this. What's the biggest, I mean, you said a $4,000 job's a big job. What's the biggest job that you've ever done in terms of money?
Not one job, but like when I get a vehicle where they want to put money into it, have a lot of things done. The most I've done, it was about $7,500 at the end of it. But it did take, I don't know, like 2 months of him having me going back to this place and doing it. But on average, I would say most of the jobs, I come out to about $500 is like the average. Trust and believe you can make over $100,000 a year being a mobile mechanic.
Okay, beautiful. And then you're working for yourself. You're getting to pick your own times, like, all the
You
all the
don't have
perks.
any overhead as well. Like I'll never get a shop. Never. I've had opportunities to go in and like work with somebody, like wanted to bring me in and we be business partners. And I didn't want no part of it. I mean, it was thanks for the opportunity, But right now, how I'm set up, I have no overhead, right? Maintenance into my own vehicle and then getting my own tools, right? Put maybe 15% back for maintenance for your own vehicle and to buy new tools. That is all my overhead, really.
And Thomas, what do you think stops mechanics that are already working in shops from just starting their own thing? Like they're already working on the vehicles, they already know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're just scared to go out on their own because they know where they're at. They have a guaranteed check coming in. It's very hard. It's very scary to quit that job and go out and try to make it on your own, knowing you got to depend on other people or depend on yourself for that income, getting your own customers. So I always tell people to start off on your time off slowly, right? Don't quit your job till you build up a good clientele. Start on your days off or start on the weekends, or if you have vacation time, take some vacation time up and try to invest into your business that way. I was medically retired from the Marine Corps. I was injured in Iraq in 2006. I was blown up by an IED. So I got medically retired from the Marines, right? So mine was set up a little bit different, right? I wasn't working at the time because I just got medically retired. So I did have that income from the Marine Corps, which I was able to, use that in my time to start my business.
That's awesome, man. We appreciate your service, Thomas.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. I do want to get into the biggest mistakes that you made with this business. Like looking back, are there anything glaring? I mean, we talked about biting off more than you can chew. Was there anything else that was like, man, I really would have done things differently had I known this?
Yes, when you start off, your prices, don't price yourself too low. You don't want to go too high either because then you won't have any customers. The problem is when I started out at just $60 an hour, let's see, most shops around where I'm at are about 120 to $160 an hour. A lot of the dealerships are from 150 up to 250 an hour, right? So you want to kind of, I'm cheaper than the dealership, but I'm about in line with the shop, right? But starting out, I was only at $60 an hour, right? So I thought, I'll get all these customers because I'm the cheapest. Well, the problem is when you go that cheap, a lot of your customers you're getting are not good customers, right? So the way to get rid of bad customers is to have a price where you need to price yourself out of theirs, right? That if you do $60 an hour or whatever it is and try to be the cheapest, it does not work. You'll get a lot of customers, but you'll get a lot of bad customers as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Charging adequately will bring good customers. Yeah. Sometimes it's the more you charge, there's such a balancing act when it comes to pricing, and it all
Yeah.
comes down to how many customers do you have? Because at the end of the day, if you've got more customers than you can service, then you can kind of name your price. Whereas a lot of people find themselves, at least in the beginning of their business, not having enough customers. And then they feel like they're desperate and they have to just, go down to whatever price it takes to get the job. So I want to tell that to anybody who's watching this video. Focus on getting customers first and foremost. Wouldn't you say so, Thomas? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. Also depends where you got to have your expectations, right? Where depends where you live at. How many people are around? How many potential customers do you have? Like I said, I live in Columbus, Ohio. It's the capital. It's a million people here, right? So I have a potential of a lot of customers. Okay, I'm from a place called Wellston, Ohio. It's in Jackson County. Literally, we have like two red lights. I mean, the city's only 5,000 people, right? So if you're starting a mobile mechanic business there, your expectations, you got to bring them down a little bit because you only have 5,000 potential customers. That's if everybody needed something, right? I have over a million people here, right? So I'll get 20 calls a day. Now, if I was back home where I'm from, I might only get 20 calls a week. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
So you might have to spread out where you're going to go. So, like, I'll travel 1 hour from Columbus, either way. Anyway, 1 hour from where I'm at is how far I'll go. You might have to go farther if you're in a small town to reach, more customers.
Absolutely. So in Thomas, if I were to start this business, I'd want like two kind of incomes. I'd want one obviously from one-off customers, which is probably going to be a larger ticket price, but also I'd probably want like a stable recurring income. Is there any money in like doing like recurring oil changes for people, or like is there any kind of service that you can offer on a recurring basis for maybe the people that are in the smaller places where they don't have as much lead flow?
Yeah, and now it's that's with your returning customers, right? And you'll build rapport with them. You'll build, a relationship. And a lot of these people are my friends as well now. Uh, I have a lot of them set up. I'll take over their vehicle maintenance, right? So whatever their like in their owner's manual, let's say at 40,000 miles, do this, 50 miles, 1,000, do this, so forth, right? I'll look at the vehicle's owner manual and I'll just keep up on their vehicles. They don't have to. So I'll call them and be like, okay, it's time for spark plugs. Let's go ahead and get you set up. And I have 10 or 15 customers that'll do that.
Okay, beautiful. I want to talk about something that I don't really talk about in a lot of these videos, Thomas, and it's something that a lot of people don't think of. Like we talk about, okay, you can make 100 grand a year doing this, but we don't think about the taxes, the reinvestment, and then the overhead. We've already talked about how the overhead is really low on this, but how do you manage like taxes as well as reinvesting into the business?
Yeah. Now, when I first started off, I did not know what I was doing with taxes, and I ended up paying a lot in it because I was not saving my receipts. I wasn't, claiming things that deductions that'll bring it down. So we hired an accountant, and that's the best thing I could say is hire somebody that does this as their job, right? And they'll be able to lead you down the path because there's a lot of deductions out there when you're running a business. I mean, there's literally thousands of dollars in deductions. I mean, from even the food that you're eating, the gas that you're driving, even the cars that you buy. I have the LLC set up, so that's something else. You need to go ahead and set up whatever it is for you, a S corp. There's 1,000 different things you can set up, but we set up an LLC, and that separates you from the business. Say something happens and there's a lawsuit that happens, right? It's not going to fall on you personally. It's going to fall on the business, right? And the same with the taxes. When you buy a vehicle, you can buy a vehicle and don't have it in your own name. You can have it bought through Simplify Mobile Mechanic LLC, and it'll be bought under that business name. And then you can have that wrote off for the taxes as well.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, excellent advice, man. Thomas, last question for you. What's kind of like the big goal for your business? Obviously, you've been doing this for a few years now. Kind of like where are you looking to go? Are you still growing? What does it look like?
Yeah, first of all, I need to get better with time management, right? The thing is, it's hard to be specific in the mechanic world because one broken bolt can set you back, right? You might have an appointment at 1 and then something happens. Now you're not getting there till 1:30, right? Well, not a lot of people will understand that. So my goal or something I need to work on is time management. But for future down the road, I would like to build this up so I could have a few employees, right? That could go out and do this. And I could just answer the calls, set up the jobs, uh, and have a few customers doing it. So I'm not out in the field as much, right? I just hit 40. I know that's not super old, but the Marine Corps aged me pretty bad, right? So it's like dog years. Every 1 year in the Marine Corps is like 4 years out in the civilian world, right?
Right.
So I like to get a few employees. That would be my long-term goal.
Man, I would say I feel like poaching them from like, and I hate to say that, but at the end of the day, like you could poach them from mechanic shops. It's like you got guys either that or I wonder if there's a trade school. Are there trade schools for mechanics?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's some big ones.
Yeah.
Now we've hired a few people. Things just didn't work out. First of all, if you hire somebody, don't hire your friends and family, right? I mean, you want to and you want to help them out, but it never works out. Never, right? And if somebody messes up on a job, it ain't Joe, the mechanic. It's going to fall back on you, Thomas, or Simplify Mechanic, right? So when you hire these people, I mean, they are representing your company. So make sure you're hiring, that you're thorough with who you hire. I'll say that.
Okay, beautiful. Excellent advice, Thomas. Thomas, is there any other advice that you would give to somebody who just wants to start this business out? Maybe they're intrigued by it, you know what I mean? Or any advice that you give to yourself if you were just going to start out again from zero, basically?
Yes, just start. I'll talk to people all the time and they want to get it perfect. They want to have a big van and they'll want $5,000 and these tools or have to have them snap on tools and all this before they get started. You don't need that. You just need a vehicle. It doesn't matter what kind of vehicle. We'll worry about that later. Like I said, I drove a Honda Accord, a Kia Soul, right? And then I've had trucks and vans, but I started with, like I said, a Honda Accord. That's all you need. If it has a trunk, you can use it, right? And it does not matter the name brand of the tool, right? You're going to be out working in different kinds of weather. You're not going to be in a shop protected, right? So you can go and buy cheap tools because a lot of times these tools are getting rusted and beat up anyway. So don't worry about what kind of tool it is, right? Or the name brand of it. Just go ahead and start. Whatever car you have right now, that's the car you're going to use. The tools you already have now, they're good, right? A wrench is a wrench at the end of the day, right? So just go ahead and get started. Quit trying to make everything perfect because you'll never start. It'll never be perfect enough for you.
Absolutely. Thomas, you gave some great advice, man. This was awesome. I love your whole story. I love how you got started and you just kind of figured it out along the way, man, which is brilliant. So, Thomas, every guest that comes on the channel, man, has to pick the word of the day. It could be any word you want, but what word would you like the word of the day to be?
Word of the day. Well, we'll do two words. Simplify or simplify.Dulles. Always faithful, Marine Corps motto.
I love it, man. Semper Fi. If you guys made this far in the video, comment that down below. You guys be sure to check out Thomas's channel. Thomas, you vlog all like your days and fixing cars and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, we do. We have a mobile mechanic workday series. I'll show you from start to finish, from picking up the parts, talking to the customers, all the way, and I'll show you how much money we make on each job as well. A lot of the people don't want to show you the money or how much. I'm showing you, hey, we made $500 today. We only worked 3 hours. Let's call it a day. And then I'll also have on the YouTube channel, we have little tips, mechanic tips, things like that as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, the channel will be linked down below. You guys be sure to check it out. Subscribe to Thomas. Thomas, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.